to go to school. So you find most of them going to school from their offices, being sponsored and all that. But somewhere in the 90s, we started having a lot of younger folks who are going in straight from secondary school to go study surveying and geoinformatics. And then by the time we got into the millennial, we now started having the age, that age brackets come lower. That now we even have surveyors who are registered in their 20s.
Wow.
Yes, so it's a huge improvement.
All right. So let me get to you then, the surveyor Adegoke Samson. How long have you been in the surveying profession?
All right, so I started my journey, of course, academically in the year 28, and then
2008.
Yes, 2008. Sir.
Okay.
And
Which school did you attend?
Of course, I went for my ND at Federal School of Surveying in Oyo.
Oh, the prestigious Federal School of Surveying.
Sorry,
I know Surveyor Aguraba speaks glowingly about that school. So you went to that same school too?
Exactly, sir.
Okay.
And then, of course, after I went back for my HND at that same school, and then, of course, I transmitted to UNIZIK University, Nnamdi Azikiwe University.
Okay.
For my PGD. And of course, presently I'm running my master's program.
Right.
However, so the journey started from peculiarly started from 2010.
All right.
I started my IT, and then I saw the beauty in them. So
let's talk about how did you get into it? Because a lot of times we always want to find out your journey through this particular profession. Was it by design or by accident?
Okay, so let me say by design, because I owe this to my mom. She has a brother who happens to be my uncle, who happens to be a surveyor also. And then while I was still at home seeking admission and all of it, she just said, "Oh, why don't you just put in for surveying at Federal School of Surveying Oyo?"
Okay.
I felt bad initially.
What was your initial choice for study?
All right, so I was looking at the engineering aspect,
okay,
like the mechanical engineering, and then of course which I was expecting admission at that time at Unilag too.
Okay.
And then of course it happens that she encouraged me. I just picked up the form and then I went to the school. I saw the whole thing and I fell in love with it.
And from since then you've never looked back?
Never.
All right.
Even when they had the opportunity to, when I had the opportunity to, after my first 3 months, my dad consulted me and he spoke to me and then said, "Do you still want to continue this journey or you want to go back to
engineering?"
Yeah, engineering. And I was like, no, I think this is the path. This is the right path for me.
So you've not looked back ever since?
Never, sir.
All right. So as it is right now, are you a registered surveyor yet, or is it only when you are through with your masters that you get registered?
I'm a registered surveyor, sir.
Okay, a registered surveyor already?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay. So how's it been for you? How's the journey been as a professional in this field?
All right. So, of course, for every journey in life, it has to be rough at some point. And then, of course, when you keep up, when you stay focused and then you continue, you would find it easier over time. So initially it was rough. Initially it was not all good. You get up in the morning and you feel like, oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? You're going through stress, and then of course surveying looks stressful until you start enjoying it. You start seeing the pride in it, or you start making some things from it. Then you feel comfortable. So over time, it's been a good journey for me. Of course, it has developed from the stressful, rough to more relaxing, and then of course more tedious anyway. But at least when you're doing some things and then you are relaxed about it, even if you're doing more, you don't feel it because of course you enjoy doing it and then you are built for it already.
I love the way you're really putting all of this. You sounded very pleased. It means you are really satisfied with the profession. I'll get back to you. Surveyor Aguraba, what are some of the abounding opportunities for young professionals in surveying and geoinformatics, as you call it?
Okay, like what we find applying to other professions, technology has really impacted the surveying profession positively. From what we used to have in the days before, where all our equipment were all analog, and then to what we have now, that we've transitioned into the use of digital equipment. We've also transitioned into the implementation of IT and then programs and all that into most of our operations. So, and then like Surveyor Adeliji said earlier, the younger folks have have these giftings for tech, and then anyone who is tech savvy would find a permanent seat in the profession.
Right.
Yes, because a lot of things have gone, it's unlike before where you have to physically assess an area of investigation or an area under study. Now you can remotely assess data, and then from the comfort of your office you can process your data and all that, as against what we used to do before where you have to do manual computations in volumes and all that just for a piece of property that you're carrying out a survey on. But now, just with a click of a button, you have programs that have already been, you can run programs even to help you solve any problem that you envisage while carrying out your work.
All right, so I was asking about the population of young surveyors there. So if you're going to give an estimate, are they up to 5%? Are they up to 10%?
No, well more than that.
Oh, they're more than that?
Well more than that. I think I would say the percentage of registered surveyors who are below 40 now should be hitting, if not crossing 50%.
All right.
Yes.
Let me see if I can take this call. Hello there, good morning. Okay, well, that's that 08099120777. That's the number that you can call, and you can also be part of this conversation as things unfold. 08099120777. We're trying to explore the opportunities that abound in the surveying profession for young professionals, and have a young professional in the studio, and talking about surveyor Adediji Adegoke Samson. He is the chairman, Young Surveyors Network, the Lagos State branch, and of course I have surveyor Agu Roberts also in the building as well. Adegoke, so you said it has been very, very interesting, right, since you started your practice?
Yes, sir. Very.
Where have you worked? Which areas of this country have you worked?
Okay, so in terms of area, I've been to about nothing less than 20 states.
20 states?
Yes.
This surveying profession has taken you to across 20 states?
Yes, sir.
Talk to me. Which of the states? Mention some of them.
All right, so I said my journey, I started enjoying it from year 2010. That was when I worked with a particular surveying firm in Lagos. They had a project, it's called the Home Zoning and the Street Map. And of course, it is what they use for a lot of traffic.
Wow, Google Mapping these days.
Google Mapping, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you work with that firm too?
Yes, I work with the firm, and then they took us to a lot of states. We started with Lagos. We went to Ogun State, Abeokuta, Ibadan, Oyo State. I was also at Abuja. I was at what's it called, Kogi. I was at the East State, Abia.
Wow.
I was at a lot of states in Nigeria. We went to a lot of states in Nigeria.
So you practically done surveying in so many states.
Exactly,
in
sir.
Nigeria.
Exactly.
All right. So which has been the most tedious of all the jobs that you've handled?
Well, of course, like I said earlier, when you start, it's going to look so rough and then so uncomfortable. So I would actually date it back to when we were doing the home zoning.
Okay.
When you have to walk from morning till night. I mean, trek.
Wow.
Literally trek.
You're literally on your feet.
On your feet, yeah.
From morning to night.
From morning to night.
Doing mapping, trying to do streets identification.
Yeah,
and all of that.
even dealing with buildings and all of it.
Wow.
So it was really tedious then, and of course, I would say it's the most tedious for me.
Okay. So we have young people that are listening to you, and we have some young interns that are also in the building as well. How do you convince young ones like you that this is the best profession to also to tap into?
Of course, like we say, surveying is the bedrock for every meaningful development. So it means that for every sector that needs to carry out any development or needs to go undergo any development, you need the input of a surveyor, meaning that you are relevant at all stages. You are relevant at all levels, and you are relevant to a lot of what's called firm and all of it. So the era of you as a surveyor, you don't have work, you're jobless and all of it, it's over. Because, yeah, you hardly find a surveyor who's seated at home, except the person does not really want to work. There is a lot of surveying firms who are willing and watching out to employ. So the surveying profession offers you a sure chance of getting a job after school and all of it. So to the young ones out there, please don't relent, don't stop. This is one sure link to financial liberation, of course, and then stable life as you want it.
So we're talking about financial liberation we just mentioned right now. Is surveying really a financially rewarding profession?
Okay, thanks to a lot of thanks to the efforts by our older generation. They made sure that it is well secured, and then in fact, with the way things are in Lagos State, there's a lot of development. There's a lot of property exchange. There's a lot of project going on, engineering project, hydrography project. So these are things that will always bring in money, whether we like it or not. And then the funny thing about the real estate also is that there's a new buyer, there's a need for a new survey and all of that. So there's a whole lot in the real estate aspect. There's a whole lot in the engineering firm. So we have a lot of buildings coming up each day. So there's a whole lot of money coming in for the surveyors from all of these angles.
All right, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. We're still reflecting through the opportunities that abound in the surveying profession for young ones. And I have in the studio with me this morning Surveyor Agu Roberts, who's the publicity secretary of the Association of Private Practicing Surveyors of Nigeria, Lagos State Branch. I also have here Surveyor Adegoke Adediji Samson. He's the chairman, Young Surveyors Network, Lagos State Branch. All right, flash update coming in. That articulated vehicle involved in the accident at Udu Yalaro has been recovered and towed off the road now. So I'm expecting and hoping that that standstill situation that you've been experiencing will get better. I understand the truck that's on ground, the Nissan Diana, will soon be towed off any moment from now. So that's the good news that I'm bringing to you at this time. Let's see if we can expand the discourse beyond the studios to also have your input too. I have any questions for the surveyors? And of course, if you are a surveyor out there too, a young one or perhaps an old one too, you can also join the conversation. Let's dwell on this. What opportunities abound for, those who are young practitioners in the surveying profession? You can let us know your thoughts in that regard. Surveyor Agu Roberts, Adegoke Adediji has been speaking, glowingly about his own exploits and what he's been enjoying. He says most of you have put in place a lot of things that is making the younger ones really, really have some good time. So let's talk about the equipment now, because earlier on you talked about technology. Technology has come to more or less, bring some kind of reforms to the profession. So how cheap or how affordable are those equipment that you're talking about?
Surveying equipment are very expensive, and it's even getting more expensive by the day with the whole dollar rise, the whole exchange rates and all that. So surveying equipment are very expensive, and for a fresh graduate who is just out of school, newly registered, it will be a Herculean task for you to really get your office equipped. And part of the requirements for you to set up an office is that your office must be equipped. But the beautiful thing is that the older generation have in their wisdom put in place a system of mentorship, such that even after your professional registration, after you go through the pupillage program and then you get registered, there is also a mandatory period of mentorship where you are expected to practice under a registered office.
Oh, good.
Yes, under a registered office for some time to enable you. It's not compulsory, but it's mandatory, because we all understand how peculiar our society is. And then one of the things we noticed that has given rise to shady practices and unethical practices is when the surveyor is engaged to do a project and he doesn't have the adequate equipment to carry out that project. Because he's in need for cash, there's a tendency for him to carry out a shady job and just get paid. And then we discovered that most of the times a lot of surveyors are not proud of the job they did when they started practice.
You mean it?
Yes, because you started practice with nothing, and then somebody calls you up to do a job, and then because you have bills that are mounting up to be paid and all that, there's a tendency for you to collect money and then look for a cheap means to execute that job. Yes, so
which might not be professionally done.
So 5 years down the line, you may not be proud. If you are reminded of what happened, when you newly got registered, you will not be happy about it. So in the wisdom of the elders, they had set up this mentorship program such that a newly registered surveyor can sit in a registered office and carry out his practice from there. So it means that when he's engaged to do a job, he has a pool of equipment to choose from.
Wow.
Yes. He also has professional guidance from his mentor on how to carry on with this job. He also has that mentorship from his mentor on how to even interact with clients. Yes.
All right, then
that,
let's take some reactions. This one says, good morning, surveyors. It says, what new opportunities are there for young professionals in surveying and geoinformatics? Adirola is sending that one in. I think you've talked about, but of course, you still shed more light on that. This one says, hi, Victor. What educational background is most beneficial for young professionals entering the field of surveying and geoinformatics? Mrs. Isa, what? Yeah, Isa. All right, so what opportunities?
Okay, well, the opportunities abound. Like we rightly said, most societies now are going digital. So the whole mapping project, infrastructural mapping, planning and all that. So there is need for survey data. And because of the urgency of this data, it calls for faster approach to data acquisition.
Okay.
Unlike the traditional methods that will take time. So you can imagine that maybe the government needs particular information on maybe Ikeja axis, for instance. They need survey data that will aid them in bringing up a policy on maybe waste disposal, like you were talking about the whole waste management system this morning.
Right.
You know, so if there's a policy that is supposed to be raised to take care of waste disposal in Ikeja, for instance, and that policy is supposed to kick off maybe in the next 3 weeks. If you're going to go about that data acquisition using the traditional method, it will take you about 3 years to do that.
All right.
But
so responding to Mrs. Issa now,
yes,
says what educational background is most beneficial for young professionals? So is it when you come in from OND, HND, or masters?
No, basically you come in at entry level. It's advised you come in at entry level with your 5 credits in sciences. You must have a science background, because surveying and geoinformatics involves a lot of mathematics, physics, and some little bit of geography. So you must have your O-level credits in maths, physics, and then geography. Of course, maths and English is compulsory.
Right.
So yes, you must have science background.
All right. So surveyor Adegoke, so what are the challenges confronting you as a young professional?
Okay, so like Surveyor Agu said earlier, most of us, after our registrations and all of that, we find it difficult to find our feet, and that's basically because of the challenges, the economical challenges in Nigeria and the world as a whole. So the very first one is the financial stability at first to set up, and then of course do what is needful, and then all of it, and then of course there are other used exuberance that comes in play. Oh, I want to do this. You come with a big dream. You want to do this, you want to do that, and then the dream is getting a hold of you, and then you feel, okay, let me quickly do this, let me quickly do that. There's a rush that comes in from within you. These are things that you want to overcome first, and then know that, oh, let me calm down. Let me get these things done. And then, of course, maybe the fact that a lot of people out there see us as, oh, this one is too young to handle this particular project for me.
Have you had that kind of situation before?
Yes.
When they see you, they say, oh, this guy's a young guy.
Is this a surveyor? You'll be like, oh, God, I'm a registered surveyor and all of it. So
you get that kind of discrimination sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes.
Have you had a situation whereby they say, no, I can't give this job to you. I don't think you have the capacity to do it?
Well, I have not had one said to my face, but of course, the problem is that they don't call you back after you must have,
done the negotiation,
and then explain what you want to do and all of it. They feel, oh, can I entrust this person with a whole lot of money and all of that? But of course, I think it's getting better.
So there's a misconception there, Surveyor Aguro. It means that a lot of times people want to associate surveying with the elderly, with the old generation.
Yes, and that's why we have always insisted that you should meet with your surveyor in his office. Yes, because it's just the same thing that happens in the medical profession. You meet somebody on the streets, maybe he just fresh out of medical school at 26, done his house job. You meet him on the street, he tells you he's a doctor, he's going to carry out surgery on you. You will not trust him. But if you meet him in the hospital, if you meet him in the hospital, even if he's 24, there is a level of trust you have on him. So we always advocate that clients should meet with their surveyors in their office. By the time you come into the office and everything about the office ambience tells you that this is the man in charge here.
Right.
It boosts your confidence in entrusting your resources to
All
him.
right. Flash update coming in says the second vehicle has been recovered and towed off the road. So road open for vehicular movement inwards or Jota now. All right. So that's the good news. All the accidented vehicles that are involved have been taken off. And this will be coming in from the Maryland and Independence Tunnel towards Odoyalaro. The road has been opened, so you can have it pretty good driving through that corridor. All right, I'm having some other reactions that are still coming in. 08099120777. We're talking about young surveyors and the opportunities that abound in the surveying profession. This one says, good morning. My question goes to Surveyor Roberts. It says, what is APPSN Lagos State Branch doing to help young surveyors tackle challenges? Thanks, Alaba. He sent that one in.
Okay, so one of the programs that we instituted, which is a welfare program, was in the area of equipment acquisition.
Okay.
So we set up a scheme whereby young surveyors are able to procure equipment and then pay installmentally.
Oh,
yes, because
you
we
have
understand.
that.
Yes, we have that ongoing.
That's a very good scheme.
Yes, we have that ongoing.
Okay, and that will help them to stabilize.
Yes.
Oh, good. All right, then 08099120777. This one says, good morning, SARS. Says, what advice would you give to young surveyors who face difficulties finding their first job? Finding your first job. So that could be challenging, right?
Yes, very challenging. I would say, well, let me even come from my own experience. I was more in the construction industry before I got registered, even though I still do a whole lot of engineering surveys now. But finding your own clients can be very challenging. And one of the things that will help you cross this hurdle is if you do more of partnership. For instance, a client, maybe a multinational who is going to be your client at the end of the day will be more comfortable when they see a team of, there's this partnership. There's something that partnership does to boosting the confidence of your client. Okay. So I also want to encourage younger professionals, especially younger surveyors who are just getting registered. You can form a pool. It could just be get into a partnership. Maybe 2-3 of you could just come together, set up a company, and then do all your paperwork and all that. It will help you because it's synergy. You're coming together to pool resources together, intellectual resources, financial resources, and all that. And then working as a team will help you a long way.
All right.
Go a long way in helping you.
Okay, then. So even as we gradually wind to the end, another flash update from the control room at Mushin Corridor, precisely location at Oshodi, under the bridge. This is Oshodi, inwards Anthony, between Terminal 1. I understand there's a breakdown of a Sienna car with a front tire problem. So it's there. A tow van contacted already, and backlog emanating towards Boladi. That's the report. Okay, then. So as we gradually wind down on the program this morning, Surveyor Adegoke, what's your message to younger professionals? We've not even talked about geoinformatics, all right? Any difference?
No, there's no difference.
Okay.
Surveying and geoinformatics work hand in hand. And then, of course, my advice to the younger ones is that there's a lot of opportunity. However, if you're not prepared for the opportunity, you eventually not see the opportunity. So whatever it is that we want to do, let's make sure that we, we'll try to build ourselves first.
All right, then.
Try to develop ourselves.
Good. And Surveyor Agurobot, what's your parting thoughts on the program?
Okay, for the younger the younger ones, patience. Take time, invest in yourself, invest in your brand, invest in your practice, and the rewards, will definitely come. And like we have always said, surveying is one profession that only death retires you. Yes.
I love that. Yes. Only death retires you. Yes. And that's the parting thought this morning. We have to terminate the discourse on the program. Thank you so much, Surveyor Agurobos, for being here.
Thank you, sir.
And Surveyor Adegoke Adediji Samson, making your first entry in the program. Very good one indeed. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, then. So this is how far we'll go. It is the benchmark from Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. You can always go back to watch all these programs on our YouTube channel, Traffic Radio 961. And of course, you get a whole lot of content that you have there that you can view again. All right, maximum thanks to Mike James, who has produced the program this morning.